Hello, it's the middle of January now, so I thought I would give you a little update on how everything's getting on in the greenhouse and out in the garden. Stuff is happening, very slowly, but stuff is happening. And also, because it's the middle of January, I thought I would start to sow some of my seeds. And I'm not going to show you how to sow all of them because they all need to be sown in exactly the same way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I'm going to sow, and I will show you how I'm going to sow one of these, and then hopefully you'll know how to sow the rest of yours. If you do have anything specific, then you can always ask me, and then I will be able to let you know. So, first of all, the vegetables that I'm going to sow now in the middle of January are some leeks, and these ones are called mussel burr. I've sown these before and they always grow really, really well. In fact, I've still got leeks in from last year. I've got some exhibition onions here, which do really well. They did brilliantly last year, so I sowed them from seed, as I'm about to do, and they were out there and they grew really big and they were absolutely fabulous. I was so chuffed. I've got some herbs and I've got some dill here, and I've also got some chives. Now these two herbs you could actually sow all year round if you wanted to, because you could keep them in the green on the windowsill, on a sunny windowsill, and grow them in there, so that's fine. But I thought I would sow some. Now, what you will find is I do actually have chives in my herb patch, and they will actually die back over the winter, and then they'll come back bigger the following year. And I've also got some flowers that I'm going to start off as well. I've got some sweet peas here, which are lovely. I love sweet peas. There's so many different varieties of sweet peas, and it's entirely up to you. I've also got some aqualegias. I've got Blue Star. I've got William Guinness there, and I've also got a mixture here as well of aqualegias. Aqualegias are, I like them. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and they will come back year after year. They have, the flowers are different colours, so it depends what sort of colour scheme you're going for, or whether you just go, that's a pretty one, I'll have that one. I've got spaces where I can put them and they will just look lovely. I love aqualegias. And then they will seed and you'll get them popping up all over the place. And I've also got some lobelia here as well. So I'm going to show you how to sow one of those, and then all the rest of those will sow exactly the same way. So let me show you how to start sowing your seeds. Okay, so what I have got here is I've got lots of these little trays here, okay, that you've actually got 5 sections in here, and I find that they're absolutely brilliant. They're quite flimsy, but they fit in these seed trays beautifully, and it just means that you can actually make use of the space more effectively, I find. But everybody's slightly different, so it depends what you like to use. Now, what I've got here is a load of multi-purpose compost, and all I'm doing is I'm just loosely scraping it over and just making sure that it fills up the gaps. Now, I'm not pushing it down at the moment, so I'm just loosely pushing it over so that it'll fill up most of the space. And then once I've filled up the space, then just level it off with your hand like this. You don't have to be really precise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fingers and I'm just going to gently push down. And doing this firms up the compost, and it also puts it down just enough for you to plant your seeds. Now usually when you sow your seeds, they want you to put them about 1/2 inch under the compost, and doing them like this actually gives you about 1/2 inch either left at the top, which is great. So I'm just going to push all of these down. You'll have your own way of doing them, but this is the way that I do it, and I find that for me it works absolutely brilliantly. You can be quite firm, don't really hoik it down, but just make sure it's nice and firm. Now this is just normal multi-purpose compost, whichever one you prefer to use. I just use whichever one I can get hold of. I'm not that fussed about using a specific brand, but I just find that the one that I use is really good. Make sure that if there are any large lumps of bits and pieces, sometimes you get compost and it's got lots of bits and pieces in it, large bits and pieces. You want to get all of those out. But this one that I've got is lovely. I don't know what variety it is. Let's have a look. Oh, it's Grow More. Grow More, very nice. Okay, so that's those pushed down. Now what I would do, if this is slightly damp, is I will give this all a water and then it will just level it off. But this is a little on the damp side anyway. It's not really dry. So I'm not going to do that. Plus it's actually quite cold. So I will put a propagator lid over the top of it, so that will help the moisture get in. If you put too much water on it, then the seeds will start to rot. So it's best to have slightly less water than too much. Okay, so that's all of those done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sow one variety per section. If you do find that you've got a lot of seeds and you need to spread them out between two, then do. So what I'm going to start with, I think I will start with the chives. And as I say, with all of these seeds, they will need to be sown in exactly the same way, all bar the sweet peas. The sweet peas, what I will do with those is I will start the same here, but I will then just, because they're quite large sweet peas, I will just place them and then I'll just push them down just a little bit, just to make sure that they're slightly further underneath the soil, but not that much further. So let's do some chives in this first one. Take them out of the packet. Chives are lovely. They come in, you can get garlic chives as well, and they're really nice. So here are my here are my chives. These are just normal chives. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb and my finger, take a pinch of seeds, and then I'm just going to move my thumb and finger backwards and forwards, and the seeds will drop out onto the compost just like this. If you've got too many, then whatever you don't sow can go back in the packet for next time. And I may well, in fact I most probably will, sow some more of those maybe in a month's time. So once you've got your seeds scattered on top, all you need to do now is to get a little bit more compost and then just gently sprinkle it over the top like this, making sure that you come up to the top here of the section. Okay, any bits, there's a bit there, I don't want that. Remove those. And once you think you've filled it up, then just carefully level it off. Don't push it down, just carefully level it off. And that's the chives done. So I will carry on doing the rest of the seeds. But before that, I will show you how everything's getting on in the greenhouse and the garden. Here are the strawberries. I've still got lots more strawberries to take the runners from, but these are doing really well. I've got loads of them there, all the way down. There's stacks of them all the way to the bottom. There's a weed in there. I'll have to take that out. If you do find that some of the leaves are starting to go brown, don't worry about it. Just nip it off. Okay, just like that. And then that's fine. Don't overwater the strawberries when they're in the greenhouse over the winter. Just, keep them damp. Okay, so let's go and have a look at the geraniums. Here are the geraniums. There's a load up here, there's a load more down there. I've got lots here, loads. Some are doing better than others, but they're all coming along very, very well. I've actually finished doing all the geraniums now. You can see that they're starting to get some new leaves on them. And again, like the strawberries, just keep them damp. Don't over wet them. If you do find that you get some that look like this and they look like they've gone mouldy, just keep them for a while and see. If you do find that you pull them up and they come up really easily, then they don't have any roots on them. But I'm going to keep them there because they may well recover. This one has here, you can see that there's a new leaf growing there. So give them time, okay, and don't panic about them. All right, so they're doing okay. So let's go and see how things are doing outside. If we look here, we can see that the sorrel is coming back again after the winter. So that's starting to grow. This growing up here is my little kiwi. That's sort of, it's not ready to come back yet, but it's quite happy, and hopefully it will grow a lot more. The mint is now starting to come back again. As we can see, it's just starting to come through here. And if we move, let's go and say hello to the chickens. There's the chickens. Say hello, girlies. Hello, I know. And if we look in here, we've still got beetroots coming. They're still growing beautifully. I need to harvest some more of these as the days go on. That one over there is absolutely huge, which is fabulous. They're great roasted. We've been digging up the parsnips, but as you can see, the parsnips, the leaves will go down over the winter, and don't worry about them. Just remember where you've put them, and then the leaves will start to come back again in sort of January, February time. So then you can remember where you planted them if you forgot. Now, if we look in here, hopefully you can see this is where I planted this is my garlic, my autumn garlic, and you can see tiny little sort of green shoots coming up. So the garlic is starting to come up now, which is really good. So I know that that's on its way. I think practically every single one is coming up. It's still got a long way to go, and I will be harvesting that most probably in about July-ish time. So that's doing really good. Here we've got a load of brassicas, we've got kale, we've got brew kale up there, and we've got lots and lots of Brussels in there. I hope you can see those. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see the Brussels. We've been having lots and lots of Brussels, and I've been so pleased with them. They're lovely. They're not enormous, but they're just the right size. They're nice and small, and they're nice and sweet, and they really are fab. So they'll still be going for quite some time, so we still need to eat those. Here is the brew kale, which has gone completely mental. Oh, wrong way, sorry. See, this is why I should never be trusted with the camera. And the brew kale is coming up, and that's doing really well. We've been having lots of this as well. So as you can see, there is still an awful lot of stuff going on in the garden, even though it's the middle of January. That's the garden as it stands at the moment. As I say, I've still got leeks in. The fruit is doing really well, but there's nothing really going on there, so I didn't think it was point showing you what's going on there. And it's a little bit messy, but I'm tidying it as I go. Everything is working well and is doing exactly what I expect it to do, so I'm really pleased. So what I will do is I will carry on sowing my seeds, and then I will come back to you in about 2 weeks time or thereabouts, at the beginning of February sometime, and I will show you how everything is progressing. I will give those geraniums until then, and if nothing has happened with any of the ones that look like they've died, then I'll just get rid of them. But I've got plenty there anyway, so that's good. But hopefully you've got lots to get on with in your garden. If you haven't sown your January seeds, then start to sow them now, or think about sowing them now. It may well still be too cold where you are now, so you know your weather better than I do. So go with what you normally do, but I'm down in the southeast of the UK, and it's a bit chilly. It's going to be chilly this week, so we haven't had it chilly. I wouldn't say it's cold, I'd say it's chilly. It's getting to about 8 degrees during the day. We have been having like 12, 14, which is wrong, completely wrong. So we will see whether we get any snow this year. We didn't have any last year, but we were snowed in the year before. for about 3 days, and yes, we couldn't leave. So we will have to see what this year brings. If the wind comes down from the north, it comes straight across the field and straight into our garden, which is fabulous. But anyway, that's as it goes. We'll just have to play things by ear with the weather. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing the update. As I say, I will get on with doing the seeds, and I will come back to you in about 2 weeks' time and show you how everything's getting along. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye bye.